You find people exhausting. Not just some, all of them. Your colleagues, your family, strangers on the bus. And if you're honest, sometimes even yourself. You believe it's because of them, their way of talking, breathing, existing. That's the first illusion we need to shatter today. The truth is more disturbing. Every person who annoys you holds up a mirror to you, and what you see is not their problem. It's yours. In the next few minutes, I will not only show you why you find people annoying, but also how this insight can free you from a prison you built yourself. You will stand up today as a different person. Every day you encounter people and categorize them in a flash. Too loud, too slow, too much, too little. You call it judgment. We call it psychological projection. Pause now. Breathe deeply and feel where tension is located in your body when you think of the person who last annoyed you. Do you feel the pressure in your chest, the tightness in your jaw? That's not dislike for this person. That's your unconscious screaming for attention. That's the part of you that you don't want to see, but desperately wants to be seen. Carl Jung called it the shadow, and your shadow becomes visible through other people, whether you want it or not. Here's the disturbing truth. What bothers you about others is never really about them. It's always about you. The loud colleague annoys you because you suppress your own voice. The slow cashier triggers you because you rush your own existence. The self-satisfied friend bothers you because you're not allowed to celebrate your own successes. We live in a society that has taught us to point outward, at others, at circumstances, at everything except ourselves. As a child, you learned to hide certain parts of yourself. Too loud, be quieter. Too emotional, pull yourself together. Too needy, be independent. Every time someone told you how you should be, you locked away a part of yourself. And now you walk through the world and meet people who live exactly these parts, who are loud when you had to be quiet, who are slow when you were supposed to be fast, who demand attention when you had to hold back. And every time your unconscious sounds the alarm, not because they're wrong, but because they remind you of what you've lost. Psychology calls this projection. You take a hidden part of yourself and see it in other people. But it goes even deeper. Psychiatrist Heinz Kohut discovered that we constantly search for mirroring in other people, for confirmation of our existence. When someone annoys you, it's often because they don't offer the mirroring that your fragmented self needs. Think of the person who annoys you most. Visualize them now before you. Close your eyes for 3 seconds and see their face. What exactly bothers you? Their way of speaking, their slowness, their self-centeredness, their loudness. Hold on to this characteristic. Now comes the part that hurts. This characteristic exists in you, either as something you suppress or as something you secretly desire. The person who annoys you lives out something you've forbidden yourself, and your nervous system reacts to it like a threat, because if you acknowledge that this characteristic is okay, you'd have to rethink your entire self-construction. In the 90s, psychologist John Bargh conducted the automatic evaluation experiment. He showed that people judge within milliseconds before the conscious mind is even engaged. Your brain decides in fractions of seconds whether someone is annoying, based not on facts, but on your unconscious patterns, your repressed parts, your unhealed wounds. Every time you think someone is exhausting, you unconsciously activate an old survival pattern. Your brain scans the environment for threats, and people who are different from you are classified as potential danger, not because they're dangerous, but because your system is on high alert. You just don't notice it. Here's the next layer. You also annoy other people. Guaranteed. Statistically speaking, you find about 80% of the people around you exhausting in some way. But here's the math that nobody talks about. 80% of people also find you exhausting. Your way of laughing, your speed, your opinions, your existence. This isn't meant personally, it's systematic. We all walk through the world with our shadows and constantly collide. Philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre said, "Hell is other people." He was right, but not for the reason most people think. Hell is other people because they force us to see ourselves, and that's the last thing most of us want. Notice now how your body feels when you hear this. Do you feel resistance? An impulse to say, no, I'm not exhausting, the others are the problem? That's your ego fighting. Back. Breathe through this discomfort. It's not your enemy. It's the door to your freedom. The truth is, you're loud for some people, quiet for others, too fast for some, too slow for others, too emotional for some, too cold for others. There's no objective version of you that's universally pleasant, because every person sees you through the filter of their own wounds, their own shadows, their own repressed parts. And you see others exactly the same way. Imagine you're wearing glasses with red lenses. Everything you see is colored red. You think the world is red, but the world isn't red. Your glasses are red. Your psyche is these glasses. Everything you see in others is colored by your history, your traumas, your conditionings, your repressed desires. Psychoanalyst Wilfred Bion developed the concept of the container-contained relationship. People project their unbearable feelings into others. When you find someone annoying, it could be that this person unconsciously activates something in you that you don't want to feel. Fear, shame, envy, inferiority. The person themselves might not be doing anything wrong. They're just the container for your unprocessed inner life. Here's where it gets interesting. There are people who trigger you more than others. These aren't randomly the most annoying people. These are the people who have the most precise access to your shadow. The people who annoy you most are your greatest teachers. They show you exactly where your work lies, where you're still unfree, where you're still trapped in old patterns. Take pen and paper now. Write down the names of 3 people who regularly annoy you. Under each name, write the specific characteristic that bothers you. Do this now, not later. Now. This list is the map to your unconscious. These 3 characteristics aren't random. They're systematic. Look at the first characteristic. Ask yourself, was I forbidden to be like this as a child? Did I have to learn the opposite to be loved? The second characteristic. Do I secretly envy this ability? Do I secretly wish I could be like this? The third characteristic. Does this remind me of someone who hurt me, of an earlier injury? The answers to these questions are the core of your psychological imprisonment. You're not free as long as other people have power over your emotional stability, as long as a loud colleague can ruin your whole day, as long as a slow cashier can destroy your inner peace, as long as the existence of other people determines whether you have peace or not. Here's the disturbing realization. You built this prison yourself, not consciously, not intentionally, but stone by stone, judgment by judgment, projection by projection. Every time you labeled someone as annoying, you built a wall between you and the world, between you and other people, between you and yourself. Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron says, other people are not the problem to be solved. They are the mirror that shows us where we still have work to do. When you really understand this, everything changes. Suddenly, the annoying colleague is no longer your enemy. He's your feedback system, a free therapist showing you where you're not yet whole. But here's the point where most people stop. They understand this intellectually, but they change nothing, because understanding is not transformation. Knowledge is not wisdom. You can know everything about projection and still be annoyed by people every day. Transformation only happens through practice, through concrete, repeated action. Notice right now how your mind searches for excuses. Yes, but there really are annoying people. Yes, but some people are objectively exhausting. That's the part of you that clings to its judgments. Because without these judgments, you'd have to take responsibility for your reactions, for your emotions, for your life. And that's frightening. Here's the transformative turn. What frightened you is not the horror. It's the beginning of your liberation. The realization that other people annoy you because of you, not because of them, is the most radical form of power. Because if the problem lies in you, then the solution also lies in you. You're not a victim of annoying people. You're the creator of your reaction to them. This means total freedom. When nobody has power over your emotional stability except you, you're invincible. When you understand that your nervous system reacts to its own shadows, not to external realities, you can heal, can integrate, can become whole. The fear you felt is the signal that something real is awakening in you. Let's get practical. Here's the first exercise you'll apply from today. Every time someone annoys you, pause for 3 seconds. Don't react, just pause. In these 3 seconds, you ask yourself a question. What in me is being triggered right now? Not what is the person doing wrong, but what in me is reacting. These 3 seconds are revolutionary. They interrupt the automatic pattern, the pattern that's been running for years. Person annoys, I react, I judge, I distance myself. This pattern has gotten you nowhere except into more isolation. In these 3 seconds, you create space between stimulus and response. And in that space lies your freedom. The second exercise is more uncomfortable. Take the person who annoys you most and write a letter to them that you'll never send. In this letter you write, "Thank you for showing me where I'm not yet free. Thank you for reminding me which part of myself I've repressed. Thank you for the mirroring, even though I hate it." This sounds absurd. Your mind will rebel, but do it anyway. Because in this act of writing, something alchemical happens. You take back power. You move from victim to creator. You acknowledge that this person isn't your problem. Your reaction to this person is your problem, and problems you can solve. Can't change people, but reactions you can. The third practice is the deepest. Begin to integrate the characteristics that annoy you and others within yourself. Does loudness annoy you? Practice being louder, in safe spaces, with friends, alone in the car. Allow yourself what you've repressed. Does slowness annoy you? Practice conscious slowness. Walk slower, eat slower. Live one day 10% slower than normal. This isn't capitulation, this is integration. Jung said, we don't heal through fighting the shadow, but through integration. When you reclaim the parts of yourself that you've locked away, you become whole. And when you're whole, other people stop triggering you, because you no longer repress anything that could be mirrored. The fourth exercise is social. Seek conversation with a person who annoys you, not to confront, but to understand. Ask them about their story, their reasons, their perspective. You'll discover something disturbing. Behind every annoying characteristic lies pain, lies a survival mechanism, lies a person trying to make the best of their possibilities. When you see this, the judgment melts, not because the person changes, but because you see them, really see them, as a human being, not as a projection. Neuroscience shows that genuine eye contact and empathic listening activate mirror neurons. Suddenly, you recognize yourself in them, and in this moment of recognition, the separation dissolves. Here's the uncomfortable truth about yourself. You annoy people because you exist, because you have an opinion, because you take up space, because you're different, and that's okay. That's not just okay, it's necessary. Your uniqueness will always bother someone who has repressed exactly what you're living, and that's not your problem to solve. The only question is, do you annoy people consciously or unconsciously? Do you live authentically and accept that some people can't deal with it? Or do you live a role to not bother anyone and wonder why you feel empty? The first way is freedom. The second way is a slow death of the soul. Do something radical now. Stand up. Really. Stand up and say out loud, I annoy people, and that's okay. Say it 3 times. Hear how your voice feels. Notice the resistance in your body. That's years of conditioning that wants you to stay small, to please, to adapt. This conditioning is not you. The transformation happening here is fundamental. You move from the question, how can I find people less annoying, to the realization, I don't have to get along with people at all. I have to get along with myself. When you're at peace with yourself, with your shadows, with your contradictions, with your humanity, then it doesn't matter whether others annoy you. because you understand that you're all in the same boat, all unconscious, all triggered, all fighting with shadows, all trying to become whole in a world that teaches us to lock parts away. This understanding is not weakness. It's the strongest position you can take. It's compassion from strength, not from naivety. Psychiatrist Irvin Yalom wrote that we're all existentially lonely, but this loneliness becomes bearable when we share it. When you recognize that every person around you is struggling just like you, only with different masks, then the illusion of separation dissolves. You're not separate. You mirror each other. And in this mirroring lies the possibility for healing. This transformation has already begun. You can no longer simply label someone as annoying without recognizing that there's more, without feeling that a shadow is being activated. You now have a choice. You can use this insight to grow, to integrate, to become whole. Or you can go back to unconsciousness, back to automatic judging, back to the illusion that the problem lies outside of you. But unconsciousness will feel different now, because once seen, it cannot be unseen. Once recognized, the recognition remains. You'll notice when you judge, you'll feel when you project, and in each of these moments, you have a choice. Continue or pause, react or reflect, remain victim or become creator. Here's your task for the next 24 hours. Choose a person who annoys you. Just one, not the worst. Take a medium one. Every time you think of this person today or see them, you ask yourself the question, what does this person show me about myself? In the evening, write down 3 insights. Just 3 sentences. But really do it. This exercise will be uncomfortable. Your mind will find 100 reasons why the person really is annoying and you're not the problem. That's normal. That's the resistance to growth. Breathe through it. Be curious instead of defensive. The truth is not your enemy. The truth is the only thing that can free you. You're not broken because you find people annoying. You're human, but you can be more than your automatic reactions. You can become conscious, can integrate, can heal. And in this process, you won't just become freer from annoying people. You'll become freer from the most annoying person of all, from the version of yourself that constantly judges, compares, defends, makes itself small. The person you become when you do this work is not perfect. They still find people exhausting sometimes. But they know that this speaks about themselves, not about the others. And this knowledge makes the difference between a life in constant reaction and a life in conscious creation, between victim of circumstances and creator of your own reality. Every person who annoys you is an invitation to look deeper, to reclaim a lost part of yourself, to heal an old wound, to break an automatic pattern. You can accept or decline this invitation. But know that with every declined invitation, the prison becomes tighter. With every accepted invitation, you become freer. The decision is yours, not tomorrow, not next week, now. In this moment, will you continue living as someone for whom the world is full of annoying people, or will you live as someone who sees in every annoying person a chance for self-knowledge? This choice defines not only how you see others, it defines who you are. Answer the call. Accept the invitation. Begin today to heal the most annoying person in your life. Yourself.